Hail, fellow travelers. Tim from Secret Fire Books here with another Random Book Wednesday. This week's random book is Edgar Allan Poe, The Illustrated Tales. Now, I picked up this book from a recent trip to Barnes & Noble. I don't usually get books from Barnes & Noble. The Lord knows, buying new books from chain bookstores nowadays is kind of a nightmare. A normal paperback will run you anywhere from $18 to $25 nowadays. I think that is absolutely unacceptable. So I usually buy my books used, but this particular day I was hanging out at Barnes & Noble, just kind of doing some window shopping. I didn't really intend on buying anything, but then I went to the annex at the back of the store where they keep their most of their clearance items, and among them they had a bunch of these hardcover editions of various classics and other public domain works that they actually reprint themselves through their associated printing companies. And so among them was this hardcover copy of Edgar Allan Poe. And it was only $10. So I thought that was a great deal. So I went ahead and picked it up. And it's a pretty decent quality book. It's got a nice hardcover, has these really nice red end papers here. It's printed on some pretty nice, slick, glossy paper, as you can see. And yeah, it's a collection of, I think there's 18 of his more popular short stories and one poem, which is The Raven, because, of course, if you have an Edgar Allan Poe collection, you have to include The Raven. So here's the table of contents right here. And as you can see, this book is fully illustrated. It reprints a bunch of old illustrations by the late, great Harry Clarke, who made a lot of Edgar Allan Poe inspired illustrations during the 1920s, I think. So we have pieces like this one right here, this gorgeous black and white piece. This is from The Fall of the House of Usher. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. As well as this thing right here. Some of these are in full color. And so one of the colored pieces is this one right here. Look at that. Look how gnarly that is. This was painted in the 1920s, and that is some gross, disgusting Cronenberg body horror-esque stuff going on. I love it so much. It is so creepy. Now, I'm from Baltimore. I actually grew up in and around Baltimore City, and so we have a lot of pride for Edgar Allan Poe here. Which has always kind of confused me. Yes, he did live in Baltimore City for some time. There's the house that he lived in that's been converted into a museum. But Edgar Allan Poe lived in a lot of other cities, in a lot of other states. There's little Edgar Allan Poe houses all up and down the East Coast and in New England. He moved around a lot during his tragically short life. But I guess the most significant thing to happen to Edgar Allan Poe in Baltimore is that he died here. I think it was in 1946 when he died. He was found stumbling around. No one had seen him for, I think, something like a week, and he was just stumbling around Baltimore City, completely delirious. Some guy took him home, tried to nurse him back to health, but he unfortunately died shortly afterwards. And no one really knows the exact reason for his death. It's one of the great unsolved mysteries of American history, which is kind of cool. I haven't actually read any Edgar Allan Poe in a long time. I read quite a bit when I was in middle school. I had a English assignment, I think for either The Telltale Heart or The Pit and the Pendulum, is one of those stories. And so I read that one of those stories, and I thought, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And so I looked up more of his stories, more of his poems, and realized, yeah, this old 19th century Gothic horror writer is actually really cool. But I hadn't read any of his stuff since, and so when I picked this up, I started dabbling back into it, reading some of my old favorite stories, reading some stories that I'd never read before, and it's been really fun reconnecting with my old friend Edgar. But I would say for anyone who's never read Edgar Allan Poe, you should definitely give him a shot. His stories are absolutely dripping with creepy Gothic atmosphere. He uses his vocabulary is very robust, and he uses words in a way that just invoke a lot of dread and a sense of foreboding, which is what I usually look for when it comes to horror fiction. I will say that even if you're not someone who likes older, like really old fiction, classics and stuff like that, I think you'll still enjoy him because I'm not a big fan of classics. I don't read anything that's older than the 1900s, but I love Edgar Allan Poe. So definitely give him a shot if you've not already. You can look up a bunch of his stories online. I think everything is in the public domain pretty much. So you can find his stories on Project Gutenberg and other websites like that. But if you want, an actual physical copy, you could do much worse than swinging by your local Barnes & Noble and picking up one of these from the Annex for only $10. It's a pretty good deal. But that's just all my opinion. Let me know, guys, in the comments. As always, have you read any Edgar Allan Poe? What do you think of him? And whatever the case, I hope you'll join me for another Random Book Wednesday. Until then, as always, farewell and keep reading.